Igbo mythology and folklore. The birth of Ikenga Epoch. The story of how Ikenga motif technology came to be. Once upon a time, in an age almost forgotten, yet still with fragments of memories scattered across Igbo culture and traditions, a band of wise Igbo sojourners resolved that it was time to shift the balance of power and usher in a new age. They undertook this mission with what they believed to be noble intent: to preserve the male species, whom they feared were in danger of being overlooked in the evolution of mankind. Among other things, they debated endlessly what might best serve the posterity of their people. This yearning for balance or redemption drove them to seek answers from the gods to whom they still had direct access. Their search led them across realms to the dwelling of the only being capable of granting their desire, Ikenga, the god who had mastered the intricate cosmic and terrestrial waterways, the jungle path of existence itself. He alone bore the title of Owa Ota, the shield breaker, the pathfinder, the greatest of all adventurers, the very compass of the cosmos. He was also known by many other names, such as Ikenga, Nwa Ojeluputa Ngwu, son of Ojeluputa Ngwu, Jeluputa, Jupiter, Ikenga, Omenito, the doer at three, lord of the sacred number, and Ikeje Kuwa, the strength by which the world was formed. Who better to grant their plea than this great force, whose very presence rippled through creation? When they reached his dwelling, awe tempered their courage. They spoke humbly. Agali, Nwangwu, we have heard of your triumphs in the sixth realm. They said, we have come to seek your help. Ikenga's deep voice rumbled like the shifting of mountains.
Atulubaobi, you mortals and your endless requests. What is it you want this time?
It is time for a new age, they replied. Time for the matriarchy to end. Grant men the wisdom to rule, or we cannot sustain ourselves for long. Help us usher in the Ikenga epoch. Name your price, and we shall pay it.
My price?
Ikenga's laughter shook the very air.
You think you can pay my price?
His laughter turned to scorn.
Your kind, destined to fade into extinction, come now to me, begging for courage. Weaklings.
He turned to face them fully at last, his immense form filling the chamber, bronze horns glinting like twin suns. His gaze burned through them.
Atulubaobi, you have journeyed far, so I will not ignore your plea. Listen carefully.
His tone shifted, cold and vast.
First, you must seek out Ekwensu. Only with his permission may your wish be sealed. Without his consent, your desires will break the divine order, and you will be cut off from existence faster than your destined demise.
His laughter echoed as he dismissed them, each note carrying the scent of divine authority. The sojourners departed, their hearts heavy with uncertainty about the price yet to be paid. They wandered through realms until they found Ekwensu. Though one never finds him, one is only found when he wills it. On the day they met him, at a time and hour unknown to them, Ekwensu was delighted. He had always harbored a strange fondness for the Atulubaobi people, who would later be known as the Igbo. As they laid their desires bare before him, he smirked darkly. His golden face shimmered, terrifying and beautiful beyond mortal comprehension. "How?" he asked softly. "Will you justify this move to Okeke?" The question hung heavy in the air, rhetorical and eternal, unanswered for centuries to come. Sensing their restraint, Ekwensu from the ninth realm, the highest order, granted their request. "Your wish is your command to bear," he said. And as he watched them leave, he smiled, knowing that hard lessons awaited them at the front seat of time. The sojourners returned once more to the sixth realm to call upon Ikenga. "Agali! Agali! Agali, Okemo! We have returned to beckon you again. We have done as you asked." A deep sigh rolled from Ikenga's chest like thunder.
"I ask you for nothing, Atulubaobi. Do not mistake your position for mine."
Impatient, yet amused, Ikenga instructed them.
"You must craft a totem in my image and likeness. The head of the man must bear 2 horns, my crown. In his right hand he shall hold a knife, in his left hand a skull, a reminder of conquest and of my power to crush those who betray me. Every man in every lineage must possess one for himself and his household. Through this, you shall succeed, even where others cannot. I am the destroyer and the conqueror. Even the gods seek me to fight their wars. Do not bring disdain to my likeness with any form of falsehood or dishonesty. A debt owed must be paid in time, and you will pay. You will answer to Idemili, Aka Ete Igwe, Enunala, and others whose names you dare not invoke. Take my word to heart. I will reveal the knowledge you need for this power to flourish. Pass it down to your children and their children after them. The day you lose these treasures, you will have lost yourselves twice."
He paused, his voice softening to something like almost pity.
"I have said enough."
The sojourners rejoiced, elated by their success. The question of the price they would one day pay dissolved quickly in the glow of their triumph. They praised Ikenga, the god of strength, of willful creation with songs and offerings. But as they departed, Ikenga pondered the audacity of mortals, their inherited arrogance, their belief that they could bargain with gods and escape consequence. Was it because Allah was their mother? Did they truly think they could trespass her laws and still be cradled in her mercy? But the mother will always be a mother to her children. The same cannot be said of the gods. The ways of the gods remain hidden. Even those who think they know have long forgotten their true nature. They only remember what they are permitted to remember. This is Chukwu's doing and the undoing of the gods. And thus, the Ikenga Epoch was born. The sojourners, Ndi Atulukbaobi, returned to their people with their revelation. They built the totems, followed Ikenga's law, and handed down the knowledge as sacred truth. Through this, Igbo society shifted from a matriarchal age of spiritual supremacy to an age of masculine dominion. And so began the age of Ikenga, an age of conquest, brilliance, and the quiet price of forgotten balance. Thank you for listening. If this story sparked a thought or made you feel something, I'd love to hear it. Drop your comments below. If you enjoyed this, feel free to share it to someone who might appreciate it too. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new releases. You can also check out the full written piece on the website linked in the description below. Until next time, Yagazie.